Did you know that Japan has more people living past 100 per capita than any other country, with over 90,000 centenarians? While in the United States, people spend thousands on gyms and trendy fitness programs, Japanese men and women in their 70s and 80s are effortlessly outliving nearly everyone else in the world. But what stunned researchers at Harvard Medical School after following these so-called super-agers for 5 consecutive years was something unexpected. It wasn't just their diet. It wasn't simply genetics. The real secret was hidden in plain sight, in 6 simple daily movements. These aren't exercises in the way we usually think about them. They're not intense workouts. They're basic movements that seemed so ordinary, Western doctors originally dismissed them as meaningless, until brain imaging revealed something remarkable. Older Japanese adults who performed these daily movements experienced 40% less cognitive decline compared to their Western peers. Their joints stayed supple for decades longer. Their balance systems functioned as if they were 20 years younger. Researchers at Stanford even described it as the single most overlooked factor in modern longevity science. You're about to learn exactly what these 6 movements are, beginning with the simplest and building up to the most powerful. But I need to warn you about the very first one. It's the movement shown in a study of 15,000 Japanese seniors to add an average of 7 extra years of life. Yet 9 out of 10 Americans have never even heard of it. It requires no equipment, takes less than 2 minutes, and neuroscientists found it activates more regions of the brain simultaneously than any other physical activity they've measured. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments how old you are and where you're watching from. We reply to every single comment, so don't hesitate to share below. Now, let's begin with number 6. And don't let its place on the list fool you. This is the foundation that every Japanese elder builds their day around. Number 6. The practice of slow walking, or sampo. At first glance, it might seem far too simple to matter, but Japanese elders treat it as a kind of medicine. Sampo isn't just ordinary walking. It's mindful, intentional movement carried out at about half the pace you'd normally walk. Most Japanese seniors practice it for 20 to 30 minutes each morning, often before breakfast. The key difference from Western-style power walking lies in the deliberate slowness combined with a very specific breathing rhythm. You inhale for 2 steps, hold for another 2 steps, and then exhale over 4 steps. This creates a natural cadence that harmonizes both the cardiovascular and nervous systems, something fast walking simply can't do. A 2019 study at Kyoto University tracked more than 3,000 adults over 60 for a decade. Those who practiced sampo daily had 62% less arterial stiffness than the control group. Their blood pressure dropped by an average of 12 systolic and 8 diastolic points. And here's where it gets even more interesting. The slower pace allows each foot to make complete contact with the ground, activating all 33 joints in every foot. This sends signals to the brain that enhance balance and spatial awareness. Western seniors who adopted sampo for just 8 weeks extended their single-leg standing time by an average of 45 seconds. To practice correctly, you should focus on rolling through the entire foot with each step. Start with the heel, move through the arch, and finish by pushing off the toes. Keep your eyes focused about 6 feet ahead rather than looking down. Your arms should swing naturally but subtly, with relaxed hands and slightly curved fingers. The breathing sequence is essential, and it takes some practice. In the beginning, count your steps to stay in rhythm. Morning is the best time for sampo because cortisol levels are naturally elevated, making the calming effect even stronger. Avoid treadmills since the moving belt interferes with natural foot mechanics. Choose varied terrain whenever possible because walking on grass, dirt, or uneven surfaces activates stabilizing muscles in ways concrete never could. In fact, research at the University of Tokyo showed that older adults practicing Sampo on natural ground had 20% better joint mobility compared to those walking only on paved surfaces. If you're just getting started, begin with 10 minutes and gradually build up to 30 minutes over several weeks. Now, let's move on to the next daily ritual, one that helps rebuild your body from the ground up. Number 5, daily stretching, known as Rajyo Taiso. Every morning at 6:30 a.m., a light piano tune plays on Japan's national broadcasting system. It's the signal for Rajyo Taiso, or radio calisthenics, a short routine millions of Japanese people have practiced daily since 1928. But don't let the word calisthenics mislead you. This is nothing like Western exercise classes. Instead, it's a flowing series of 13 gentle stretches performed in exactly 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Each movement engages multiple muscle groups while keeping the body in constant motion. No static holds, no strain, just steady, graceful movement that keeps joints lubricated and the entire body flexible. Researchers at Osaka Medical College studied 8,000 adults over 60 who practiced Rajyo Taiso daily compared to those who did not. The daily practitioners had 40% less falls, 55% less chronic back pain, and retained almost full range of motion in their shoulders and hips well into their 80s. The science behind this is fascinating. These dynamic stretches boost the production of synovial fluid in the joints by up to 30%. This fluid acts like oil for the body's hinges. Without regular movement, it thickens and decreases, leading to the stiffness and discomfort we often associate with aging. The routine begins with gentle arm raises that open the chest and expand breathing capacity. You lift both arms overhead while inhaling, then lower them while exhaling. This is followed by arm circles to mobilize the shoulders, then gentle twisting motions to maintain spinal flexibility. Side bends come next, stretching the intercostal muscles between the ribs.
The leg-focused portion includes light marching in place, followed by shallow squats designed to keep both knees and hips flexible. The entire sequence flows with a steady rhythm that raises the heart rate just enough to enhance circulation without creating unnecessary strain. To unlock the greatest benefits, timing plays a critical role. Japanese elders make this their very first activity upon waking, usually before they eat or drink anything. This timing takes advantage of the body's natural growth hormone peaks that occur during sleep. At this point, muscles and connective tissues respond most effectively to stretching. The goal is to move as though you're passing through warm honey, smooth and controlled, never jerky, bouncing, or forced. And if completing the entire series feels challenging, it's best to prioritize the arm lifts and gentle torso twists, as these bring the greatest return with the least effort. Even today, many Japanese companies begin the workday with group Rajyo Taiso, and productivity studies consistently show that employees who participate in these morning routines take 30% fewer sick days compared to those in workplaces without this practice. Now, let's move on to the movement that supports your brain just as much as your body. Before we continue, if you found this video helpful so far, please click the like button so that more seniors can benefit from it, and don't forget to subscribe. We release new, powerful health tips for older adults every single day, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Number 4. The Deep Squat Rest, Shinkozuwari. Take a walk through almost any Japanese park or garden, and you'll notice older adults sitting comfortably in a deep squat, heels resting flat on the ground, chatting with friends or tending to plants. Many of them can remain in this position for 10, 20, even 30 minutes without feeling discomfort. Meanwhile, most Westerners over 60 struggle to maintain the same posture for even 10 seconds. But this isn't simply about being flexible. The deep squat is a fundamental human posture that's been lost in chair-based cultures. Japanese seniors retain this natural position because they practice it daily, often spending 20 to 30 accumulated minutes in a squat throughout the day. A landmark study conducted at the Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology followed 5,000 older adults over 12 years. Those who could hold the deep squat for at least 2 minutes had a 70% lower likelihood of needing assisted living. Their hips stayed mobile enough for all daily tasks, and they preserved independence for an average of 9 years longer than those who could not squat. Biomechanics explain why this is so significant. The deep squat brings the hip joint through its full range of motion, preventing the capsular tightening that causes shuffling gaits in so many older adults. It preserves ankle mobility, which is essential for balance. It strengthens the pelvic floor muscles, which are key for bladder control. And, most importantly, it decompresses the spine, allowing nutrient-rich fluid to flow into the discs between vertebrae. Harvard researchers reported that in cultures where deep squatting is still common, there are 80% fewer hip replacement surgeries and 60% fewer cases of chronic lower back pain. To begin practicing, try squatting with your back against a wall for extra support. Position your feet shoulder-width apart, with your toes slightly angled outward. Lower yourself gradually, keeping your knees aligned over your toes. If you can't keep your heels flat right away, place a rolled-up towel beneath them. Hold the position for 30 seconds at first, and then slowly extend the time as your flexibility improves. The key is frequency, not duration. 5 separate 1-minute squats spread throughout the day are more beneficial than a single attempt at holding for 5 minutes straight. Japanese elders weave squatting into daily life without needing dedicated exercise sessions. They squat while waiting for buses, while gardening, or even while watching television. This seamless integration means it requires no additional time or effort. You can use squatting in a functional way too, organizing low shelves, tying shoes, or playing with grandchildren from this position. Each instance reinforces the pattern and preserves the mobility that sustains independence. Next comes the practice that rewires the nervous system, ensuring balance and coordination for decades. Number 3. Single leg standing, ashidachi. It may sound unusual, but Japanese doctors prescribe single leg standing much the same way Western physicians prescribe medication. Adults over 60 are commonly advised to balance on one leg for 1 minute twice a day as a preventative measure. In Japan, this practice is even covered by health insurance because the scientific evidence supporting it is so compelling. A long-term study at Fukuoka University monitored 12,000 participants over 15 years. Those who incorporated single-leg standing into their daily routine experienced 68% fewer hip fractures and 75% fewer falls that required hospitalization. Brain imaging further revealed increases in gray matter within the motor cortex and cerebellum, the brain regions that govern coordination and balance. Here's why it works. Standing on one leg forces the body to make thousands of tiny adjustments every minute to remain upright. These adjustments strengthen not only the muscles, but the entire neuromuscular system. Proprioceptors, the sensory receptors that tell your brain where your body is positioned, become more responsive. The vestibular system in the inner ear sharpens its reactions. At the same time, your visual system processes incoming information more rapidly as the brain integrates signals from multiple sources. The standard method begins simply. Stand next to a wall or sturdy chair for safety. Lift one foot just an inch off the ground. Fix your gaze at a point about 10 feet ahead.
Breathe naturally and hold the position for 30 seconds before switching to the other leg.
As your skills improve, try closing your eyes to increase the challenge. Without visual guidance, your other balance systems must compensate, making them stronger. In Japan, many older adults eventually practice this while brushing their teeth, effectively gaining 2 minutes of balance training during a daily routine. This timing creates a built-in habit loop, guaranteeing consistency. Those at a more advanced stage add subtle movements while standing. Gently rotate your head from side to side. Extend your arms overhead. Trace small circles with the lifted foot. Each variation stresses a different part of balance and coordination. The principle here is gradual overload. Once 30 seconds feels easy, aim for 45 seconds. When standing with closed eyes becomes manageable, switch to balancing on a folded towel for an unstable surface. This ongoing progression prevents stagnation and sustains neuroplasticity, the brain's capacity to form new pathways. Research from the Mayo Clinic revealed that one-leg standing time is actually a more reliable predictor of lifespan than blood pressure or cholesterol. For adults over 60, the ability to balance on one leg for 30 seconds is linked to mortality rates similar to people a decade younger. Now prepare yourself for a movement that appears almost magical in its benefits. Number 2. Floor-sitting transitions. Here's an astonishing fact about aging in Japan. The average Japanese person over 70 shifts from standing to sitting on the floor and back up again more than 20 times per day. They sit on the floor for meals, tea, watching television, and social interaction. Each transition is a complex, full-body sequence that maintains strength, flexibility, and coordination in ways no gym exercise can fully mimic. A large-scale study at the University of Tsukuba, involving 10,000 older adults, compared those who regularly used the floor with those who relied only on chairs. The results were striking. Floor sitters demonstrated 40% more lower body strength, 50% greater hip mobility, and were still capable of rising from the ground unaided well into their 90s. Even more surprising, their cognitive performance scores were consistently about 15% higher. Researchers found that the intricate motor planning required for these transitions stimulates the prefrontal cortex, the brain's center for executive function. Successfully lowering to the floor and standing back up requires sequential planning, balance adjustments, strength regulation, and spatial awareness, all working in unison. It's essentially a full brain workout disguised as a simple daily habit. Traditionally, the movement begins by standing with feet together. You lower one knee, then the other, settling back into a kneeling posture. From there, you shift into various floor-sitting positions, such as cross-legged or side-sitting. To rise again, you reverse the sequence. Bring one foot forward into a lunge, press through that leg to stand, and bring the other foot forward to meet it. Though it sounds straightforward, it demands significant control and strength. To build this capacity, begin with assisted transitions. Use a low stool or ottoman as an intermediate step, placing your hands on it as you lower into kneeling, then removing them once stable. Over time, reduce hand support until you can perform the movement independently. Practicing on soft flooring, like a yoga mat or carpet, helps protect your knees during training. Frequency matters more than flawless execution. Even completing 2 or 3 transitions each day can deliver major benefits. For Japanese elders, this isn't seen as exercise, it's simply part of daily living. Because they've kept this habit since childhood, the movement never deteriorated. For those adopting it later in life, patience is key. It may take months to perform smooth transitions, but the rewards are remarkable.
Studies confirm that the ability to rise from the floor without hand support is among the strongest predictors of longevity. Research from Brazil found that individuals capable of this lived on average 6 years longer than those who could not. And now we arrive at the highlight you've been waiting for. The king of all movements.
Number 1. The towel twist, known in Japan as Tanui Hibiki. This is the movement that reshaped everything scientists believed about aging and exercise. It requires nothing more than a simple hand towel, yet Japanese centenarians attribute their vitality to this practice more than to any other. You grip a towel with both hands, extend your arms forward, and perform a deliberate twisting motion that creates isometric contraction throughout the entire body. But to describe it merely as a towel twist is like calling the ocean a puddle. This movement awakens muscle fibers that remain untouched in 99% of traditional exercises. When researchers at Taku University used electrodes on participants practicing Tanui Hibiki, they observed unexpected results. Deep spinal stabilizers were activated. Small, intrinsic muscles of the feet engaged. Even facial muscles displayed measurable activity. The study that astonished the medical community tracked 15,000 Japanese seniors for 2 decades. Those who practiced Tanui Hibiki just 2 minutes per day lived, on average, 7 years longer. Their grip strength, recognized as the most reliable single marker of mortality, remained above the threshold for independent living until around age 92. They preserved bone density equal to that of people 20 years younger. And brain imaging revealed something even more extraordinary. The bilateral coordination required for the towel twist activated both hemispheres of the brain simultaneously, forging new neural pathways between them. Participants showed sharper memory, faster reflexes, and markedly lower rates of dementia. The practice begins with a rolled towel held horizontally at shoulder height, hands about 18 inches apart. You generate tension by pulling outward as if trying to rip the towel in half. While maintaining this tension, you rotate your torso slowly to the right, keeping hips stable and facing forward. The movement originates entirely from your core, not the arms. At the end point, hold the twist for 3 seconds, then return to center and repeat on the left. The unbroken tension is the secret. You're creating your own resistance, forcing every stabilizing muscle to contribute. Breathing control is equally important. Inhale as you return to center, exhale as you twist. This rhythm stimulates the vagus nerve, triggering a parasympathetic response that lowers systemic inflammation. What makes the exercise so remarkable is its adaptability. Beginners can apply light tension with shallow twists. Experienced practitioners generate powerful tension and deeper rotations. Some Japanese elders even adapt the movement to seated or lying positions. The principle never changes. Create tension, maintain control, and synchronize breath with motion. The science of molecular biology explains its impact. Isometric contractions cause muscles to release myokines, special proteins secreted during effort. These act like natural medicine, lowering inflammation, enhancing insulin sensitivity, and stimulating the growth of new neurons. No exercise studied has produced more myokines per minute than the towel twist. Timing magnifies its effects. Japanese elders typically practice once in the morning and once at night. The morning session activates the nervous system, setting the tone for the day. The evening session enhances recovery and improves sleep. Just 1 minute in the morning and 1 minute before bed is sufficient. No special equipment, no membership fees, no complicated routines, only a towel. And yet this simple ritual affects every system of the body more profoundly than hours of conventional exercise. In the end, the revolution in aging science is not about futuristic technologies or expensive supplements.
It lies in rediscovering the timeless wisdom of movements practiced quietly in Japan for generations. These 6 movements are more than exercises. They form a complete system for sustaining human functionality across the lifespan. They target strength, flexibility, balance, coordination, and brain health at the same time. They require no equipment, no special clothing, no structured exercise sessions. They blend seamlessly into daily routines, as natural as breathing. The research is undeniable. People who preserve these movement patterns experience aging in a completely different way. They keep independence. They preserve cognition. They savor their later years instead of simply enduring them. The choice is in your hands. You can continue with Western exercise models that view aging as an enemy to fight, or you can embrace these simple movements that treat aging as a journey to navigate with grace. The Japanese had provided the model. The science has confirmed its effectiveness. The only question is whether you will begin today or postpone until tomorrow. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Which of these movements do you believe could help you most right now, and why? Have you ever tried adopting one of these Japanese practices, and did you notice a difference in your balance or strength? Share your experiences and reflections in the comments. We truly enjoy reading them. Thank you for watching.